All right, so I wanted to make a video today about oscillators. I've stuck to this small case since I started Eurorack. I've just always had this idea. I'm not going to build over. I got tons of modules laying around. So I've really managed to find oscillators that pack a lot of punch for their size. There's going to be chapter markers at the bottom if you want to jump through, but for now, let's dive into it. I'm going to start with Ensemble. Now, Ensemble is a 16 oscillator based, I guess you could call it a polyphonic oscillator, because what it does is it takes 16 different oscillators, up to 16, and it puts them into these different scales. Now you can use the learn function to actually play a keyboard or a sequence into them and learn your own scales. I'm not going to dive super deep into each oscillator, but I'm just going to go over them generally. So yeah, you can make your own scales. The ones that it comes with are, your classic fifths and things like that. You have this is just octaves in the beginning. You have 12 equal temperament, octave, and free for your switches. You have pitch, which is very touchy, but then you have all these gold writings under them are shift functions, so you can shift and change the pitch pretty easy. You have cross FM, root, balance, and spread. So spread is the spread of the 16 oscillators. Balance, if you're on this side, it's just going to play the root note. And all the oscillators are sine wave based. So it actually can work pretty good as a bass oscillator. When I sold my Dixie 2, I was using this, keeping this all the way clockwise at the root note and messing with twist and warp, getting some really cool things. But yeah, let's listen to it real quick. I'll go over some scales, and then I'll put it down to the root note so you can hear how it acts as like a bass oscillator. So let's listen to it as just on the root note. So you go counterclockwise. And now you have this like a bass oscillator you can use it as. It's really nice for that. You have these different functions too. You got ramp for so it changes the twist knob. So you have ramp, pulsar, and crush. That was crush. Here's pulsar. Here's ramp. And then for the warp knob, you have fold. This other one's called cheb. This other one's called segment. So as you can hear, you can get so much out of that oscillator. Like I said, it packs a lot. It is a little bit bigger, but think about how much more you would need for an actual poly setup. You need a bunch of filters, a bunch of VCAs. So it's nice to have that in the setup. You can use it as a sustained pad and get these drones or the, bass oscillator or those great chords. It's very useful and it can do a ton. So that's a really good one. This next oscillator, let me see. I got to make sure. Yep. So this is Braids, and Braids is my favorite. I like it way more than Plates because it has, however you want to pronounce plates or plats, it just has so many more functions. And before we listen to it, I'm going to go over all the hidden functions. And they're just one menu away, which is easy. You press the button, and this is Michigan Synthworks. They make some of the best clones ever, in my opinion. So your wave is going to be your wave shapes. You have meta, which will, like on the plates and plats, you have the model input. That's what meta is. So it's going to change which model you're on. And I'll show you an example in a little bit. You have bits, changes the bit depth, the rate, trigger source, trigger delay, attack decay because you have a built-in VCA, and then you can affect the FM with timbre and color, which is really cool. That's what those do. VCA you can turn on, which I believe I have mine on. Yep. And then range, which is really cool. So what range does, hold on, let me find the one I'm looking for. Flat is the one I'm looking for. Flat takes, you know how when you play sequences that have high and low notes and they go out of tune when you go real high or low? Flat fixes that. So that's really amazing. You have a quantizer built in. So I'll play a little sequence and we'll go over that. And then you can change the octave, the root, the range, and the root note. So you have, C and all the different notes. So it's pretty amazing what the thing can do. By far my favorite oscillator. I use it on absolutely everything. And there's just tons of things you can mess with on it. But the quantizer and the VCA built in is just exactly what I love so much about it. Because if you got a small case, you got to get what you can. And I have scales too, you can see over here, but I run out of room sometimes. So it's nice to have the quantizer built in. So let's listen to it. Add some modulation. Oh shit, hit the camera. We're not perfect around here. All right, so let's listen. Nice super saw. These ones do more of like, you can get an acidizer sound out of them. That flute sounds so gnarly. I love the flute. But it can get a little grimy sometimes. It's hard to fit in. And you have your drums. So just like plates, it's really nice to have that. All right, so now I'm going to show you the quantizer built in the root note. Just hit the button. Now we can go to root note. And it's really easy to get through all the menus. Like I said, it's only one button, and then you find what you want to get to, and like, let's say decay. Scroll back to wave, press down, and there you are. This next one is my absolute favorite as of lately, just because I had Dixie too, and I didn't really like it. Took up too much space for what it was. I mean, it's just a classic analog sounding oscillator. But then when I saw the A116, and it has a filter built into it, balance, pulse width, you know, a sub oscillator, VCA, envelope. It's got so many things. I'm going to show you all of them right now because it's very... it can do a lot for its size, and it's a great bass oscillator with that sub oscillator. So just to know how it works, it's a square wave bass oscillator. So even if you're at sol or triangle, if your pulse width is up at all, it's going to add that square wave to whatever wave you're on. Now your sub oscillator is going to be a square wave regardless if you have pulse width all the way down. And we'll listen to that. But middle is square wave. But if I have pulse width all the way down, you're not going to hear anything. So I have something in the CV balance. That's the sub oscillator. So right now we're going to listen to it set at square wave with no pulse width, and we're going to get no sound. A little snapping. But watch what happens as we turn up pulse width. Now we'll add a triangle, and watch what happens as we turn down pulse width. It's just a triangle now. This will add the square. Now it's just a sawtooth, and now it's adding sawtooth and square. So the filter's really cool. VCF FM1, so the modulation for filter 1 is gonna follow the envelope naturally, unless you add something to VCF CV1. So this gain knob is going to be the overall volume. You don't need anything put into the gate. If you turn gain up, it'll just play. So I'm going to unplug gate, and you can see how that works. So you can kind of drone it out. But you have your VCA built in. And a thing to note is you have jumpers on the back to modulate the attack and decay in different ways. You have to look it up in the manual. It can modulate both of them, just the decay, just the attack. So let's plug something into the gate, and we can go over the different shapes. You have AD, ADSR, and AR. AD is just going to be snappy, and you can bring up the AD as much as you want, like any envelope. And then ADSR, the sustain is just going to follow the gate that's coming in. So if you have a long gate, you'll have a long sustain, and so on. again, the filter follows that envelope unless you put something into the CV1 modulation for the filter. But you also have VCF FM2, so you can modulate the filter with two different things. So right now the envelope is modulating it, but I can add this random voltage to 2. Pretty cool. So the next part I should go over is the sub oscillator, which is balance. Now this is what's absolutely amazing about this thing. Not only is it a sub oscillator, but it has a balance input that you can use for CV to modulate it, or you can external in another oscillator and get like, it'll play that over your oscillator. Let me show you that real quick. So I'm going to come out of Beehive, which is a plates clone we're going to go over next, and I'm going to go to extension in. First, I'm going to show you the sub oscillator without extension in. So that's modulating the sub oscillator with the CV input. Now let's add something to extension in. So now it's substituting our sub oscillator for the Beehive that is now being sent to the extension input. So you can get crazy. You can add some chords in there. That is one of the coolest things about this oscillator, is being able to make it not just your typical analog sounding oscillator, you know, adding some digital oscillators to it and getting some really unique sounds out of it. So I definitely want to go over the modulation. It's pretty straightforward. You have your pulse width modulation, and then off, and then your FM modulation. So you can get your classic frequency modulation. So let's listen to that real quick. We can get some pulse width modulation, taking a triangle LFO. So as you can see, another one that packs a ton of punch for its size. By far, one of the coolest oscillators I think that's come out ever. I love the thing. The only downfall is the knobs are a little close together, but it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I was trying to think of like a downside of each one. I guess ensembles could be that there's no gate or trigger input, but you know, you're probably sending it to a VCA anyways and have some sort of way to trigger it. So really not a big deal, but I was kind of shocked. They got room. I don't know why they didn't include it. This one, I guess the knobs could be too close together. Braids, can't really think of a negative. Especially the Michigan Synthworks one, because it's so it's small and compact and just amazing. And when you're jamming, it's so nice to be able to change wavetables real quick. But anyways, let's go over the last one, which is Beehive. So Beehive is a plates clone, and it's from Michigan Synthworks. Another amazing oscillator. Just real quick, it's got some of the same functions. Like if you want to change octaves, you hold down this right button and move harmonics. Let's turn it up. And we can send it a trigger. So it has a low pass gate built into it. That's the trigger input. And then your VCA is just level. And you can modulate these by holding the left button and moving timbre and morph. That'll change your shape. And that's really good for drums, which are the red bank. So level is really nice too. That's just a VCA built into it with no low pass gate. So that's usually better for just the standard sounds. Same thing applies. Left knob and morph and timbre now control the shape. You have additive synthesis, harmonic wave shaping, classic wave shapes, FM, vocal things, chords, drums. You have a DX7 bank. So let's go to the chords real quick because they're actually really beautiful. So cool for some deep house stuff. I love those chords. Then your vocal. And then let's go to some DX7 stuff. So this orange bank it has chords and vocal stuff at the bottom, but a lot of these are very reminiscent of a DX7. then you have your model input, so you can modulate everything: timbre, morph, harmonics, FM, typical, volt per octave. But you also have this model input, which changes between models. I don't have anything dialed in at the time because it can be very drastic. So I like to usually run it through an attenuator, but I'll at least show it to you. It's probably going to sound horrible, so I'm not going to turn the volume up. We're going to see. Oh, that's not bad at all. Gotta love random voltage. I just have a bunch of them over here. And the more you dial that in, you can add a lot or a little. And there's guys that have videos on making a drum patch where they start with the kick in the red bank and get the hi-hat and the snare by just using model with the right sequence with random voltage. Also, I forgot to show braids and how Meta does the same thing. So let's go over there real quick. So the same way you would, but you have to add it to FM. You come over to Meta and you turn it on. So see it changing the algorithms at the top. And you can dial that in however you want. I mean, we could try a triangle LFO and see how weird it gets. See, so it can get a little too drastic sometimes with that triangle LFO. It's way too much. But if you send it through an attenuator, you can get some nice things. So those are the 4 oscillators I wanted to go over today. I mean, all 4 of them together is honestly a very good combo if you're thinking about getting 4 oscillators. But if you're just looking at one, I hope this video was helpful. Let me know what your favorite oscillators are, especially ones in small HP. That's my thing, obviously with the one case. And it'll be funny to see if I ever build over. I mean, I've lasted years with just this case, and I've just made everything do as much as it possibly can, like the ornament and crime and things like that. So, as always, thanks for watching. I'm going to be adding a bunch of samples to my website for free. A lot of them used in the multigrain videos, evanwilster.com. And I have a huge video coming out next month. I'm still going to hype it up because I can't say anything about it, but trust me, you guys are going to be stoked. I'm stoked. It's going to be an epic video. So, yeah, as always, thanks for watching.